All right, so parking rules and restrictions. What do we got here? All right, you see at the top there it says half P meter, all right, and it kind of points to the right, and you've got 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Okay, so it's half-hour parking that you pay for with a meter. And then underneath that you've got 2p meter, which is 6:30 to 8:30. That's the nights on weeknights and Saturdays. And then you see this one at the bottom here, it's got 2p and it doesn't say meter. Yeah. All right, so if you're there on Sundays, it's 2-hour parking and it's free. Right, so the other ones you pay, and you pay for with a meter, and the meter's, you know, just there. And what you've got to do is you go and you find your spot number, which is on the ground here somewhere. So be on the ground up there, and you go up to there and you type in your number. Now, you see up here you've got loading zone. All right, so that is a place where you can stand but not park. So loading is like standing, which I explained before. So if the time that you're parking is not mentioned, then it's free and it's as long as you like. And you get one go at that. So just to finish what I was saying about the parking meters, because it was a bit windy out there. So you've got different times of day and different days of the week. So the first thing you're doing is you're looking at the day and the time that applies to now, to when you're there. So let's say with this one, you've got, for example, 6:30 to 8:30 in weekdays was 2-hour parking on a meter. So you can arrive, let's say at 6:30, and you can pay for 2 hours, which takes you to 8:30. And it doesn't mention what happens after 8:30. So it's free all night. So if you arrive at 6:30, if you pay for 2 hours, you can stay, you know, overnight till whatever the next time is in the morning. So I think it was like maybe 9 or something, or 7, I can't remember what it was, 7:30 I think it was. So at 7:30, that starts again, but you cannot have a second go at the parking. Right, so if you've paid 2 hours the night before and then you stayed all night, you can't come and pay it again and get another 2 hours. So it's a bit of a misconception that you just keep paying. You have to move your car after you've had that stretch of time, but you can also have the free times on either side of that. All right, so what happens, the other thing that you saw there is that for Saturdays it was, let's say it was 2p meter, then Sundays it just said 2p, no meter. So it's free, okay? The meter will still take your money. You can definitely put money in, and I've seen people do it at Sunday, they're paying stuff. You don't have to pay because it just says 2p, no 2p meter. So there's the meter, and what you do is you find your spot number, and usually you'll type that in on the machine. And the other way of doing it is where it says 2p ticket. So you will go and buy a little parking ticket, which I've probably got one here somewhere in all this rubbish. But anyway, it's a little ticket. You buy it from the machine, it prints it out, and you stick it up on your dash so that it can be read from the outside by the parking cop. Now, another thing that's important to know about the parking is when you arrive in the spot, that is when your time began. So you might come along and it's 2-hour parking, let's say, you arrive, and then you're screwing around looking for coins and you're getting your stuff out and blah, blah, blah. And that takes a few minutes, and then you go pay and you pay for 2 hours. But you've already used a few minutes of your 2 hours, okay? So when you pay for 2 hours, you're actually gonna stay for 2 hours and 5. That 5 minutes, they can get you. Because, and I asked a parking cop this one time, there's sensors in the ground under the car. It knows when you got here. And they don't have to catch you. So they've got their little tablet thing. This is all automated. They can so as soon as it gets to 2 hours, just a little alert comes up, you go to this guy. And they got it printed out on the way and they're ready to go. So 2 minutes past your 2 hours, they can have you. So that's how it works. So you can't actually pay for 2 hours because you were there for a little bit longer than that. The other thing is worth talking about is there's 3 different states that you can be in, all right? So you've got stopping, standing, and parking. Now you want to see no stopping, no standing, all right? So what's the difference? So stopping means you've pulled over, engine running, driver still sat in the seat, and you're there for less than 60 seconds. Okay? So in a no standing, you can stop. You can pull over, you can let somebody out, and then you can drive off. That's legal, that's allowed. But if you get out, if you switch off the car, then you switch over to standing. So standing is quite literal. It's like standing with your car. So if you're there, you haven't left, the engine's off, you're outside the car or inside it. So right now we're standing. So you're inside the car or you're nearby, I think it's 6 meters or something. then that's standing. And then when you leave the car and you go away sort of out of sight, that's when it's parking.
Okay.
So we saw before the loading zone, and it's like it's half hour, and people misinterpret that as half hour parking.
Okay.
It's not, it's half hour standing. So in a loading zone, you can be around the car, but you can't leave the car.
Okay.
The idea being that you're loading, you're putting in or out of the car. Yeah. So like couriers and stuff like that. So they're not supposed to actually go away from it. Of course, that's probably a hard thing to police, and I'm sure people go away from the cars all the time in the loading zone, but that's what it's meant to do. That's the idea. So stopping, standing, and parking, 3 different things. The other thing that you'll see is that there's color coding on this too. So you might see, for example, it might be a bus stop, and the sign will say bus zone, you know, with the arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that sign is, let's say that sign is white and then there's red text on it, and that is the same coloring as no standing. Therefore, the bus stop is a bus stop plus no standing.
No standing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it could be the other way around, where it's a red sign with a white text, then it's a no stopping one.
Okay.
So that coloring that it's in is also relevant to which things you can do there. So it might be a bus zone but it's red, that's no stopping. Or bus zone but it's white, that's no standing, so you could stop in it and then drive off again.
Okay. To memorize that.
If it says 2p with nothing, you don't have to pay. It's 2 hour parking for free. Oh, and I probably should mention too that before it said, I think it was quarter or half meter, half p meter, that means half hour parking. So whatever the number is, it's the number of hours. So half p is a half hour parking that you pay with a meter or pay with a ticket, whatever.
Yeah.
So it says meter or ticket or nothing, that's whether or not you pay and how you pay. One last thing too, while I think of it, if the meter is broken, because we saw this earlier, if you have a broken meter, that effectively makes the entire thing no parking.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have the excuse of like, oh, the meter was broken. Okay, if that's the case, no one is allowed to park.
Yeah.
That is technically the rule. Whether or not that works for you, I don't know, but that's what the rules say.
Okay. Just walk up further and find a knob.
Yeah, yeah.